So we're here today with Monique in North Glenelg. Monique's a home gardener. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks so much for coming.
What has inspired you to get started?
Well, I actually started growing flowers for my wedding, and from there that just evolved into growing veggies.
And you, I believe, have some sandy soils.
Really sandy, yeah.
Really sandy. So, how did you start?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge for me in the beginning, and that's, I guess, I had a lot of failures to begin with because of that sandy soil. So sandy soil means there's little water retention, lack of nutrients, and so over the time I really had to build that up. That's something that was working for me were things that were thriving in sandy soil, so like carrots and things.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, shall we take a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here in Glenelg, we've got North behind you over there.
That's right, yep.
Behind me, a massive tree. I believe it has a name.
Yeah, her name's Trace.
Yes. And she comes with challenges, but also benefits. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. So in the afternoons, that western sun in the middle of summer, we are so grateful to have this tree to offer the garden shade from that harsh afternoon sun. So in wintertime, we probably don't get as much sun as we'd like.
Yep.
But also we get a lot of leaf drop from the tree, which can affect the plants growing below. So if you have a really thick coverage of leaves, then that can reduce the amount of water penetration that will get through to those plants. So it does have a few challenges.
Yeah. So that has impacted what you've decided to grow behind us.
Absolutely.
And the planning of your
Absolutely.
garden.
Yeah.
So when you first moved in, it didn't look like this.
No, it was a little bit different. So in the space behind me here in particular, that was a bit of a courtyard space.
Yeah.
Around the exterior, we had a lot of succulent style plants growing, which when we first moved in, we weren't gardeners, and we paved the whole area to use as an entertaining space.
Yep.
And obviously our passion for growing food evolved, so we ended up pulling out those pavers and installing these raised beds. So underneath these raised beds, we've got lots of sand, which is ideal for drainage.
Fantastic.
So whilst we've built up the soil within the raised beds, we'll have great drainage all the way through to prevent any sort of waterlogging.
So you've got a bit of a system with your garden
I
beds.
do, yeah.
This one here?
So on this side here, I've got my cool season plants already planted out because as I mentioned before, the lovely tree behind us gives us some extra shade. So I want them to be established before we move into real cold.
I'm very jealous of your eggplants.
Yeah,
They're
there's a
booming.
few. They really are booming. This time of year, they go crazy. So what we have here is still summer, and give it another few weeks and I will transfer most of that over to winter. I won't change the back of these beds here because they're pretty much in full shade in winter, so I'll leave those tomatoes go and then we'll come back to that in summer. So there are a few different methods to hand pollination. For me, I do like to pollinate my corn 3 to 5 days from the moment that we see these silks come out. So we use the top here, these are called tassels, and what I like to do is I just break off a tassel, and it's best to do so in the middle of the day. Can you see all that pollen flying there? And I just brush like a comb the hairs of those silks to ensure full pollination. The idea is that you want to coat every one of those strands as best as possible because each of those strands are going to turn into an individual corn kernel. Another way to do it is just grab the pollen with your hands, like so. You can see that flying everywhere. And then just wipe that over the silk, coating each one of those strands.
So when getting started, it's sometimes tricky to think about where am I going to start? How am I going to plan this? I love your planning that's gone into the verges here. So
Thank you.
Can you talk me through?
Yeah, so this is where I started, and I always recommend for gardeners starting out, you don't have to start by making over your whole yard. You know, this has been years in the making for me, but I know this area is really great for tomatoes. It gets the right amount of sun, but it also gets a really nice amount of protection. So throughout summer, this is end of summer now, of course, and so what we've got left is the remaining tomatoes, but I really love my basil, and so I'll plant this basil out to attract pollinators, and it also prevents pests from attacking my tomatoes. Winter time, I'll have a bit of a layering technique here. So again, for height, quite like the tomatoes had done, I'm actually going to plant broad beans across the back of the fence. From there, it'll be cabbages, and right at the front there will be garlic. This is using companion planting techniques. Broad beans, before they start to flower and pod, will actually deliver nitrogen into the soil, which is just going to boost that cabbage's development. And then the garlic up the front, the garlic is supposed to prevent pests throughout winter, although I still have my challenges with pests. But yeah, they'll work beautifully in harmony, and just that layering system, I think, helps to maximise space and will also look beautiful.
And garlic, you had great success with?
I did, yeah. So garlic thrives in sandy soil again, although it does love nitrogen too. Garlic needs space to bulk up. It really hates any sort of competition. So if you've got nice sandy soil, it can bulb up really well with ease.
Awesome. Have you learnt how to braid?
No. I should do. I really should do. But usually I just lay them out on these benches behind us, just in full sun, and they'll dry out there fine.
Awesome.
So, but I should really braid.
Now, Monique, I love your use of vertical space.
Thank you.
Yeah. Your passion fruit?
Yeah, so of course growing vertically does help you maximise space, but passion fruit, this vine behind me, is one of the first plants that I started with. And it just grows along trellis, and then we've added in wires across the ColourBond fence to help support it. But passion fruit really grows well in our climate here if you've got it on a fence that's going to face west and get a nice amount of afternoon sun, or preferably if you've got it on a north-facing fence.
So we've got our youngest gardener here, Hunter, as well. So I love that he enjoys the garden just as much as you do.
He really does, and you know, he brings so much joy being able to explore the garden with me, my little helper. He absolutely loves sampling all the food, so he's just finished a bean, as we saw, but he also loves carrots and tomatoes and strawberries and passion fruit. Watching him come out here, pick his own snacks is so enjoyable.
Yeah, that must be rewarding.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for opening up your doors to us and letting us explore your backyard and how productive it is. It's amazing.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming.
Obviously, it wasn't like this where we started. And for advice for those that sort of have a same blank slate to start with, where would you go?
I think start small, and there is always an element of trial and error. Please don't become disheartened if things don't work out to begin with, but I'd be starting with things like herbs and leafy greens. Get to know them, get to have a little bit of a feel of your environment and the soil, where the sun sits. And that changes a lot between summer and winter, so just getting to know these things will just help you be successful.